Good evening, Kindred. I am Teranz, and welcome back to more. Well, excuse me. Vampire the Masquerade, Coterie, or Shadows of New York. Sorry, haven't saying Coterie still a little bit, but anytime. Last way. Sorry, I'm just trying to mess around with that because of misspeaking. Anyway, last time, we joined a discussion about how to proceed with the death of the Baron. It was decided that I would go help investigate, and here we are. It's a 19th century style office. Classical, wooden, smelly, the stuffy air of books, old furniture, and dust covers. Much of the fragrance of decay, but not all. This is the first time I've seen the remains of a vampire who has met final death. I heard stories of really old kindred crumbling to dust, but that's an exaggeration. At least it didn't happen here. When kindred die, time catches up with them. If you offed me right now, I'd probably turn into an ugly, leaky corpse. The Callahan was well over a century old. It's like looking at a dapper mummy. A desiccated body and a heap of musty clothes. All that is left of the mighty boss Douglas Callahan, Anarch Baron of New York City. If that's really him. Needless to say, it might be a little hard to establish time of death or the cause, especially as his garb doesn't have any obvious damage. What a great place to start. Have you already found anything suspicious? Nothing you don't see in front of you. Aha. This door is the only point of entry into the room, right? Yes, unless you count the windows, but nobody except for Callahan knew how to operate those, and they don't let air or light through. Metal blinders on the windows facing the east. The only modern element of the room, sticking out like a sore thumb. They look automated. Was the door open when Torque got here? Well, that's one of the suspicious things. Ah, man. Well, that was one of the suspicious things, wasn't? It wasn't. It was as if Callahan locked himself in from the inside. A closed room murder, huh? There's some glass scattered on the floor. I point at it. Could that be from the window? I checked it from the outside. It's in perfect condition. So what's this glass? I have no idea. Why does it seem like she has her suspicion, but is remaining uncooperative just because fuck off Camarilla scum? I check the next point of interest. A wall safe, surprisingly large. I play with the lock a bit. What's the combination? It's Callahan's. What makes you think I know? At least I tried. A desk with nothing but an envelope on it. Nothing inside. I check all the drawers. Every single one has been thoroughly emptied. I don't know what I expected. Is this how the anarchs go around securing crime scenes? Were these emptied before Torque arrived? I don't know, but I wouldn't accuse him of tampering with evidence if I were you. Well, thank you. The decor of the room is pretty minimal, so there's not a lot of points of interest that could illuminate the case. I start getting nervous. I point at the painting on the wall. Of course, you have no idea who that is. Callahan's ancestor, I guess. I'm out of ideas. Everything I look at feels like another dead end. I'm frustrated. I feel as if I failed this investigation before it has even started. There must be something more. I start walking around, trying to find a single clue. Mia just watches me indifferently. Give me anything. Anything, goddammit. Anything. Any... Shadow blinks in and out of existence near Callahan's remains. I freeze in place. Don't be afraid of me. The only thing I'm afraid of is you wasting too much of my time. Doesn't seem like Mia noticed it. Give me just a moment more. She groans under her nose and goes back to messaging someone on her phone. When she does, the shadow appears again. Once again, blinking in, blinking out. Could something be there? I approach the clothes and start searching them for a clue. Maybe they missed something. Getting desperate, huh? Just being thorough. We've searched the bastard like 3 times. He had nothing of interest on him. How about this? Small card, barely noticeable, looking a bit like a shopping list, is shoved deep into the almost invisible hole in the fabric. Take it out and show it to Mia. Huh, you didn't plant that there, did you? No, did you? Shove off. What's on it? There's a list of 4 names. D'Angelo, Hope, Agathon, Tamika. None of those sound familiar to me at all. Any idea what this is about? Beats me. She's lying, but I don't care. Tomorrow night, I will meet up with Kadir and ask him to help me figure it out. I think I'm done here. Don't let the door hit you on the... Really? Really, game? Alright. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. Guess she sees me as nothing more but an enemy agent. When will I get to meet with Torque? If, and that's a big if, he will agree to meet you on a one-on-one basis, Catherine will let you know. Probably even let a loyal Camarilla lapdog like you see him without her oversight anyway. A Camarilla lapdog, huh? It's a risky play, of course. It might backfire, but maybe I'd benefit if I put my loyalty to the court into question. Camarilla lapdog, please. Well, aren't you? Trust me, I'm not the type who bites the hand that feeds her, but the court's favorite pastime is leaving me starved. Ah, so it's like that, huh? Yeah. She studies me carefully. Fair and tradition, hunger, back. Alright, what's her way to Julia's traits? Loyal only to myself. Interesting. Alright. She studies me carefully. I'll keep that in mind, depending on how the situation unfolds. Good. In the meantime, have a good night. You too. It's getting late, or early, depending on how you look at it. Once I leave Callahan's office, I head straight to Dakota's apartment. I try to sneak by to my bedroom, but she's up waiting for me. How was your night? Shit. Tomorrow. What happened? You look like something the cat dragged in. Tomorrow, I promise. But I'm worried. Don't be. Tomorrow. She gives me a concerned look, then closes her eyes, slumps her shoulders, and frowns. All right. You're the best. I reach my pitch black room and throw myself onto the bed. Responsibilities, the stakes, the way I always feel too slow to react properly in these situations. I don't want to think. I want to turn off my brain. I want to drift into the void. Into the void. Into the void. Into the void. All right, let us rest. Alright, you have received your first trait. Some choices in the game will push Julia towards different ways of thinking, which will have a lasting effect on her throughout the story. You'll see a brief pop-up on the screen. You can always check them in the log. Remember that ruthlessness is the mark of a true Lasombra, but you might walk another path before reaching that destination. Alright. I always told you you'd make it big. Get real. These assholes are just using me as a pawn in some stupid fourth-dimensional chess game. As opposed to just keeping you off the chessboard. Don't be a glass half empty buzzkill. Watch them make me a scapegoat or something. That would be exciting. I could write a book about living with a 21st century Lee Harvey Oswald. Come on, don't even joke like that. I haven't killed anyone. Julia, honey, neither did Oswald. Yeah, right. I keep forgetting. Stop wriggling or I'll mess up your face. Sorry. I'm always obedient when she's busy working on my makeup. It's hard to take care of your appearance, especially your face when you can't even see yourself in the mirror. Not that I've ever been particularly good at it, but Dakota doesn't seem to mind I'm her goth dress-up doll. Her presence in my unlife is one of the few good things that my sire provided for me before fucking off to Chicago. Normally I'd be told to find myself a ghoul, but many of our clan, myself included, find the idea of ghouls distasteful. We're cat people, not dog people. We don't want mindlessly faithful servants. We want companions who rely on us despite having, in theory anyway, the free will not to. This kind of relationship I have with Dakota would normally be a breach of the Masquerade rules, but the rules are different for kindred who are Camarilla adjacent, even losers like me. Simplifying here, but my sire made it clear that her child would not own slaves, and that was the end of discussion. To be honest, I think the court mostly agreed to that request because they wanted one more thing to blackmail me with just in case. What would you do in my place? If I had to investigate your elite's wrongdoings? Yeah. I'd probably look for those rich fucks pedophile rings. Look for the assholes who mention pizza suspiciously often. See who has powerful friends in Manhattan jails. That stuff like that. Oh, come on. Nah, I'm serious. Search for the deep rot and a lot of smaller crimes will get solved in the process. What is it with you and conspiracy theories? What do you mean? You just told me your bosses are having eyes wide shut parties and suddenly you don't believe in rich people pedophile rings? I don't know. I don't know if I want to. No. My point is you can't act as if all the conspiracy theories are real. Like you can't possibly believe all that shit. Half of it doesn't even make sense. Well, you want an interesting answer or a real one? The real answer should be the more interesting one. She removes her brush from my face to gather her thoughts. Everyone's lost nowadays. Just look at the world. It's drowning in facts that fail to cohere to a single convincing narrative, or a story that resonates. The corporate media wants you to believe in empirical thinking, but it always fails to deliver moral or metaphysical truths, and the people desperately lack those. So what do? They turn to conspiracists. And why? And suddenly, because they're able to navigate the world. Why is that? Because conspiracy theories give them emotional truths that serve as a compass. Is Bill Gates trying to insert satanic microchips into my body? Probably not. I hope not. Now, is he a terrible person? No idea, but there's ample evidence that might be the case. It's in his ruthless business strategies, the company he used to keep, the philosophies he follows. People look at him and they feel he's fishy. So when the media presents him as a genius or a savior, and I post that he wants to put the mark of the beast in my body, they choose to believe me because it makes moral, emotional, and metaphysical sense to them. And ultimately, that's what matters most. The end. I don't know if I want to engage with the contents of this rant too deeply. You came up with this monologue yourself? Oh no, I read it on Facebook. Oh, figures. Just to make sure, vaccines are okay? Well, as far as I know, they don't cause autism. Good to hear. Anywho, I'm done. You're the best. Yeah, considering how many times I've done makeup on a dead body, I probably have enough job experience to be a mortician by now. Now that sounds like an exciting career, but in reality, it's probably the most boring thing under the sun. Yeah, I like my corpses talkative, pouty, and self-loathing. Shut up. This carcass will be leaving now. It's got a job to do. Go get him, Tiger. First thing I need to do, meet up with Kadir tonight and report to him. I hope he knows how to guide me out of this mess. He should have time for me in an hour or two. In the meantime, I suppose it's time to find some... What's the most dehumanizing word I could use here? Nourishment. Kadir told me I'd need to quench my hunger less often if I didn't smoke. It kills you, he said. But to start killing itself, your organism must pretend it's alive, and that uses up precious vitae. I love cigarettes. The way they smell, the way they burn, the hot ash falling from the top, the sound of the lighter, the way they kill you, of course. And I guess I need some tactile connection to who I was back when I was alive. Okay, New York City, guide my steps. Show me who I should drink from. All right. Diva's Delight. A fitting name for kiss addicts audaciously... Slap on the wrist. Samir's asking me to meet her if not. Stay on the case. Bunny as a reporter. Kind of curious about this one. Honestly, sweeping through Evergreen Cemetery in search of Nigel Woods was the last thing I expected to be doing tonight. And yet here I am. The past refuses to let me out of its grip even for a few days. Hell, a black limousine almost ran me over on my way here. I can't get a break, can I? It takes me less than a minute to find Nigel. He's standing next to the gravestone of John Bunny, one of the most famous actors of the 1910s. Why there exactly? Well, the man is paranoid, which is why we were forced to come up with such an unpredictable method of choosing rendezvous points. It had to be ambiguous enough to seem incidental to a casual onlooker, but reasonably uncomplicated so that this dumbass couldn't mess it up. So we decided on silent film actors. Whenever he wanted to meet me, he left me a note with an obscure movie title. Then I only had to look up who starred in it and make my way to their final resting place. Yeah, maybe it feels somewhat goofy and unnecessary, but it's also been fun and ridiculing. And ridiculing Woods for his paranoia would be a classic case of the pot calling the kettle black. There he is, idling away his time on his smartphone, rapidly swiping with noticeably increasing frustration. Too many girls who actually know what they want from life in a row, Nigel? Don't worry, I'm definitely not that type. When he sees me, he reacts as if he'd just seen a ghost. A regular comedian. The man halts a few feet away from me and crosses his arms, giving me a dirty look. What the hell are you up to these days, Sawinski? Too busy for your old pal? You never write, you never call. He puts on this completely unconvincing frown, but quickly loses it, bursting into sincere laughter. Shit, Jules, not gonna lie, it's good to see you. Looking good, Gail. I mean, you're all doom and gloom, and even paler than usual, but I've always had a soft spot for your bony ass. Come here and give your uncle a hug. I've worked with Nigel long enough for us to settle on some basic non-verbal signals for improved communication, by which I mean signaling him to get his shit together. I am surprised to find that it's still an instinctual thing, as if my mortal body adapted to it so well in the past that it reacts the same way even now that it's dead. Alright, I get it. And to think we used to... Cut to the chase, Woods. This wasn't a social invitation, and I only have so much patience for your innuendos. What do you want? Still quick to get right to the point, huh? Very well. I've been trying to put together a piece on some particularly unseemly business in the deep web. One of my plugs pointed me in the direction of Double Spiral, saying that Double Spiral. Am I even surprised that name keeps coming up again and again? It still kind of haunts me. Of course, I made sure I would keep tabs on Montgomery from time to time, constantly reliving those 16 months I slaved away for nothing. I admit, it might have been just another part of Karen's hazing ritual. I have a feeling that even if that wasn't the case, Brian would still be told to kill the story. Some dirt on this internet whiz goes by the name of Hope. She supposedly had a hand in closing some deals with the Montgomery clan. Ever heard of her? Not an expert on the concept. Can't say I'm familiar with the person in question either. I'm lying, of course, feigning apathy. The name strikes a chord, being one of the 4 jotted down on Callahan's list. Coincidence? Kadir insists that I shouldn't believe in these. As far as I can tell, she's mostly involved in some kinky porno stuff involving scopophilia, body maiming, lots of blood. Shit's borderline occult. My cover's blown though. I think someone's after me. Still, I've got a few useful leads, which I'll happily exchange for some Benjamins before I go AWOL. Interested? Knowing him, these few leads are completely worthless, but with his luck, he might have strayed into dangerous waters. What's useless to him might prove useful to me. If I play along, he won't even know I'm no longer in this line of work. Did you expect me to buy your intel sight unseen? No dice, Nigel. Break it down for me. I won't screw you over. You know me better than that. He sighs audibly, sizing me up and down. After a brief moment, he raises his voice again. Aight, what do you want to know? So what about this Hope? What about that Hope girl? Got something worth pursuing? Maybe. She's an enigma, a total fucking mystery. The The only thing I'm certain is that she exists and enjoys streaming for an exclusive audience. Supposedly she's into cryptocurrency. You know, those Bitcoin things. I can never make any sense of it. It's a scramble, I know. But I promise you that somewhere within lies a juicy story for someone like you to pursue. Hell, I have a hunch that if we join forces, we might really hit it big this time. Thoughts? This poor idiot. This intel of his sounds like a cheap pulp novel. No one in their right mind is going to pay a dime for it. It'll ruin his credibility if he still has any. If he persists in spreading this bullshit, it will probably completely neuter his ability to harm us eventually. If the Ivory Tower gets wind of his activities, Kadir is going to get involved. He's going to ask questions, and the answer will get both me and Nigel in trouble. You're awfully quiet, Jules. Speak up. You're creeping me out. I'm sorry, Nigel. Just a bit, but still. What? He freezes in place as I gaze into his eyes. There's no blood trafficking or secret turf war going on in New York City. You have nothing on Double Spiral, and there is no hope. You made all of it up. You had the idea you have instead is a non-fiction book about toxic masculinity. You're going to do your research and you're going to pitch the book to everyone as a real expert on the subject. He stands there, completely perplexed, suppressing layers of rewritten memories. With his mouth wide open, stuck in a bizarre pose like he looks like a total goofball. I can't help but snort. John Bunny wouldn't compare, especially if our guy follows his programming and a comedy of error ensues. He's going to recover in a couple of minutes, but I'm not sticking around. This trick has taken its toll on me. I can only keep my fingers crossed that it sticks. Best to bury the memory of this meeting along with the rest of my past. Alright, that was something. Well, I think this is a good spot to call the episode. I'd like to thank you all for watching, and I will see you all next time with more Shadows of New York.